Mysterious creatures caught on Google Earth. People like to say that our world's entire surface has been mapped out. They say that there's not a single spot on the wide open surface that's left unexplored, that there's nothing to be seen or we haven't seen already. But is it true? Well, we don't think so, and the mysterious clips you'll see in today's video will show you why. Before that though, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell for new updates. Done that? Right, let's get into it. It's possible to traverse the world without stepping foot on a plane in this tremendously technologically sophisticated age with Google Earth, Apple Maps, and many other satellite imaging systems. And if you do take a Google Earth world tour, you're certain to come across some things that are rather extraordinary. Kraken. According to Scandinavian tradition, a powerful sea creature known as the Kraken formerly dominated the waters by engulfing ships, whales, and scared sailors with its lethal tentacles. Since the 8th century, Scandinavian Viking and Irish Celtic tradition had depicted the Kraken as a massive octopus or squid with lethal spikes on its tentacles. Scott C. Waring, a UFO enthusiast, purportedly saw the Kraken on Google Earth just off the coast of Antarctica in April 2016. The creature was estimated to be roughly 100 feet long from top to bottom using Google's built-in ruler, with the potential to significantly be larger if its tentacles were added. However, you can't see any tentacles or anything else for that matter, but as it turns out, there's a very solid explanation for the Kraken photo. Deepwater researcher Andrew David Fowler pointed out that the image was really of a rock structure, not a shipwrecking monster. However, many still persist in the belief that it really is a Kraken. You can check it out for yourself to decide. Loch Ness Monster. Probably the most well-known entry on this list. If you've heard of the Loch Ness Monster, you've probably seen this iconic 1934 photograph by English physician Robert Kenneth Wilson. Despite the fact that the photo was eventually exposed in 1994 as nothing more than a wooden head attached to a toy submarine, people have continued to try to photograph the famous Nessie. In 2018, a lady from the United States claimed to have discovered Nessie while casually browsing Scotland's Loch Ness on Google Street View. She stated she saw an eye and a partial lining of a mouth on the creature's left side as she observed a black figure emerge from the water. Because no one on the actual panel could give an explanation, Gary Campbell, the recorder and keeper of the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Registry, listed the occurrence as the 9th official sighting of 2018. Do you have an explanation? 100-foot-long snake. While hovering over the River Bali in a helicopter, a member of a disaster team monitoring flood zones across Borneo apparently caught this horrific and conveniently pixelated shot. The image, which depicts a 100-foot-long wavy thing drifting down the river, reignited local tales that a mythological shape-shifting serpent known as Nabao had returned to the region, but also aroused allegations of retouching. Those who disregard the website state that the river in the photo is not the same colour as the genuine Bali River, which is a muddy brown. If there was actually a requisite breeding population of dozens for a snake of this size to survive in these places, why haven't they been observed before? Well, there's one thing above all else that answers that issue and demonstrates this photo is a counterfeit. The fact that this photograph, which is really a river bend in Africa's Congo basin, had surfaced online a year earlier in 2008 without the snake, obviously indicates that someone not only inserted the reptile in Photoshop, but also utterly misidentified the place. New Zealand sea monster. In December 2014, Google Earth users were left in awe when a strange shape was spotted in New Zealand's Oak Bay that appeared to be approaching 1,000 feet long. The possibility of the odd shape being a trail left by a boat was quickly dismissed by some theorizers due to the lack of foam present, as with normal wakes made by motors. So, is there some gargantuan unknown sea monster zipping along the coast of New Zealand? Richard Gorman and several Australian researchers agreed that the waves were consistent with those of a catamaran travelling at about 7 knots or 8 miles per hour, and that the photo was most likely a glitch from Google's side, creating a long-lasting ripple instead of long-lasting foam. But what do you think? Huge spider. In July 2016, a YouTuber named Mexico Geek released a video on Google Earth claiming to have found a spider the size of a bus. The video was shared by Scott Waring's prominent blog UFO Sightings Daily, which we mentioned in an earlier post. When his community of sleuths heard about the encounter, they started pulling it apart. For starters, Mexico Geek does not provide any locations to back up the claim, nor do they provide any information about the real date of the discovery. Furthermore, how can a big spider be born and continue to thrive on such a small island surrounded by water? We think it's absolutely photoshopped. However, please leave your observations and theories in the comments below. Long extinct creature. A YouTuber who goes by the name Mr. MBB333 discovered the suspected remains of a long-extinct creature on Google Earth's Street View, roughly 50 miles inland from the Antarctic coast in January 2021. Despite the fact that the skeleton is entirely real, Mr. MBB333 estimated it to be 12 to 20 feet long and even claimed to have spotted front and rear legs characteristic of those of dinosaurs, except moving the camera a little. According to some size context, the remnants are roughly 5 feet long, and those identical front and hind legs are really indicative of a still existing species, the leopard seal. Take a look at this leopard seal skeleton on display at the Otago Museum in New Zealand. If you're wondering what a seal could possibly be doing 50 miles inland, there's a pretty logical explanation. Leopard seals are solitary creatures that spend most of their time in the water, but they do come ashore during mating season. Alien in Antarctica. Scott Waring and Antarctica both strike again. On the edge of a mountain in Antarctica, he noticed what he described as a 66-foot-tall extraterrestrial. Given how flat the ground is, the so-called extraterrestrial appears to be a shadow, but Scott is certain in his discovery. While it does resemble something with a head, 2 legs and armless shoulders, some internet doubters aren't convinced. Skeptics say that Scott experienced pareidolia, which is the human brain's tendency to detect familiar items or patterns in apparently unconnected and random objects. Do you think it's real, though? Robot in Area 51. Scott Waring then travelled on to Area 51, the one location that all ufologists want to visit. Scott utilised the program's time-lapse feature to analyse the facility's events after focusing on the highly classified Air Force installation in Nevada. And lo and behold, he filmed at least 2 50-foot-tall robots travelling over the grounds between 2006 and 2012. They had a weird habit of laying down rather than standing up. That might be due to the fact that they resemble the low-resolution shadows of buildings and other equipment on the base, but Scott has a more entertaining hypothesis. Scott speculates that the robots were seized extraterrestrial technology by the US military, with the ultimate purpose of using them in future combat operations. Something to think about. Eerie face under a bridge. In June 2019, YouTuber Hidden Underbelly 2.0 discovered an unusual abnormality in Google Earth Street View. While the sighting does have a spookiness to it, there's probably a more logical explanation than aliens. Tucked beneath a random bridge in Ithaca, New York, the bridge's underside appears to show a bulbous-eyed face hiding in the shadows, which many people said was an alien waiting for a victim to pass under the bridge. Some skeptical YouTube users suggested graffiti, while others just speculated that someone had placed a terrifying mask there to scare someone. Either of the two possibilities satisfies our own curiosities, as there is literally no room for any sort of body to stay there. Corfu Island creature. Even though the following odd occurrence wasn't caught by satellite, armchair zoologists were left scratching their heads. In October 2015, Scotsman Harvey Robertson was on a boat trip off the coast of Parga, a town in northwest Greece, when he attempted to capture the stunning blue hue of the sea with his iPhone camera. However, an unidentified creature appeared to be popping its weird grey head out of the water in 2 of Harvey's images before vanishing. Strangely, Harvey didn't recall seeing the creature at the time, but once the photo went viral, internet sleuths quickly classified the creature as anything from a beaked whale to a weird mix between a hippo and a crocodile. A paleontologist at the University of Southampton's National Oceanography Centre came up with a near-perfect match for the strange creature, and it wasn't an animal at all. He noted the subject's strong resemblance to a low freeboard fender, often known as a boat bumper, which protects boats from colliding with objects. The fender not only has the same black pattern that resembles an animal's eye, but it also has the same form towards the tip of what seems to be a snout. Humanoid figure on the moon. Wow for real, a paranormal-loving YouTuber claimed to have discovered something out of this world in the literal sense when examining the moon's surface using Google Moon in August 2019. They came upon a really lifelike creature strolling about with no arms and creating a shadow, which is quite creepy. However, immediately after Wow for Real's video went popular, a NASA representative Robert Jacobs was ready to offer an explanation that few could have predicted. According to him, NASA compared the image to its database of photographs taken at the same time and location, and concluded that the figure was due to a piece of debris on one of the camera lenses. In a topic on the forum site metabunk.org, space enthusiasts from all around the world have submitted images of the same so-called extraterrestrial sighted in the exact same location on different parts of the moon, offering some tough-to-refute evidence supporting NASA's theory. Do you still think NASA is covering it up? Let us know. Pripyat Grim Reaper. The abandoned settlement of Pripyat is the same Pripyat in northern Ukraine that was notably evacuated following the 1986 tragedy at the Chernobyl nuclear power facility. In February 2021, the town made news once more when TikToker Hidden on Google went on Google Street View. A particularly spooky anomaly was discovered in what was once the Pripyat post office, where postcards and letters still litter the floor, and a colourful mural remains intact on the walls. There's something else out of place in the room, though. There, by the windowsill, stands an eerie figure that looks like the angel of death in a robe reaching out to harvest the soul of a victim. If you zoom out to examine the full room, you'll notice that the shrouded Grim Reaper is actually just an ordinary man with his face blurred out, and that the Reaper also has a companion next to him, who isn't as afraid as he should be. The man in question was simply a Ukrainian councilman videographing the surroundings. Demonic Spectator. It's a private balcony overlooking a street in the lovely town of Nancy, France. However, in Google Street View, it's completely blocked out. Why? Earlier versions of this street's grab depicted a terrifying creature on the residence's balcony with an oddly slim physique, a huge head, and piercing eyes. Is there a gremlin roaming France's streets? Almost certainly not. Online skeptics speculated that the balcony stalker was nothing more than a wooden tribal figurine. The statue was incorrectly identified as a human and appropriately blurred, but the scale was off, resulting in the entire home being blurred, or the owner may have seen this viral image and asked their property to be blurred out for privacy concerns. Mothman. In the year 2019, Redditor Necrono7 shared a screenshot of a Google Earth picture sphere image from the Clinton F. McClintic Wildlife Management Area in Mason, West Virginia, which wasn't quite what it appeared to be. The 360-degree photo shows some green shrubbery with a road running through it, but lurking in the back is a figure as tall as a human, but with a pair of large wings spreading out on either side of it and huge red eyes. At first glance, the creature resembles a giant fly, but Redditors quickly compared it to the Mothman, the cryptid of West Virginia folklore with alleged sightings dating back to 1966. There's something off about the image. For one thing, purported sightings of Mothman usually involve him sitting in trees or on higher elevations, not just standing on the ground. The fact that the entire item appears to be made of plastic, as well as the fact that the Mothman appears to be a little different resolution than the backdrop, implies a possible Photoshop job. The notion of being a Halloween costume hoax was also mentioned by Redditors, which is plausible given that the first news reports of the sighting were published in November 2019. Could this have been the work of a member of the Wildlife Centre's board of directors? Before moving to number 1 on this list, take a look at this photo. This has been floating on the internet for quite some time in various forms and contexts, often thrown around without much explicit explanation. What is known about this photo is that it was taken somewhere along the Atlantic coast in Europe as a 1 in a million photo capture. However, we're of the opinion that this is a badly done Photoshop job. Do you agree with us on that? It's rather hilarious to see this immensely huge sea creature chill just off the coast and have no one see it at all. Goat legs. The woman in this Google Earth Street View shot appears to be a typical tourist visiting the famous Chichen Itza, an ancient Mayan city in southern Yucatan, Mexico. When you look at the photo from her knees down, though, you'll see something strange. The woman's legs are bent at an odd degree, almost as if she were bending her knees backward. Some people speculated about what was going on after seeing the photograph that went viral in 2013. You may probably understand why commentators mention the notion of a satyr, a Greek mythological monster represented as a half-human with a horse or goat legs and ears. Fortunately, individuals soon began to offer a more practical solution. As we've seen, a problem in Google's picture stitching produces some weird results, but most likely because no one has been able to duplicate the identical Street View image that would normally be available on Google Maps, Photoshop is most likely to blame. That would be all for today, our dear viewers. Let us know if you can add to this list in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell for new updates. We'll see you again next time.